Fortnite's been around for years now, and it's gone through more changes than most games do in a lifetime. But for those of us who stuck around since the early days, there are certain moments, items, and events that will never leave our memory. Today, we're counting down from 15 things that only true Fortnite players will remember. If you're new, you might not even believe half of these happened. Let's kick it off with number 15. Number 15, the double pump shotgun. Back in OG days, before Fortnite had its crazy mechanics and dozens of weapons, there was one thing that every serious player tried to master: the double pump. You'd carry two pump shotguns in your loadout, and by swapping between them you could skip the pump's long delay and fire almost instantly. It was absolutely broken. People were melting full health enemies in seconds, and if you didn't know how to do it, you were basically at a disadvantage. Epic did eventually patch it, but for a while the double pump dominated every game of Fortnite back then. If you remember panicking the second you heard two pumps in quick succession, then you're definitely a real OG. Number 14. The shopping cart madness. Before vehicles like cars and bikes, Fortnite had shopping carts. And I don't mean they were just some goofy little feature. People went absolutely crazy with them. Players were riding them down mountains, launching them off ramps, and even using them to rotate into the zone. Sometimes you get one guy pushing whilst another was sniping from the cart. The physics were hilariously janky, so half the time you'd just launch into the sky and fall to your death. But hey, it was worth it, because shopping carts were Fortnite's first vehicle, and the memories of sending them flying will always stick with the OG players. Number 13. The rocket ride revolution. Do you remember the first time you saw someone ride a rocket? Back in Season 2 and Season 3, people discovered that you could actually jump on top of a fired rocket and literally surf across the map. It wasn't just a trick shot thing. Squads were using it to rotate or even launch into enemy bases. Suddenly, rockets weren't just weapons, they were transportation. Eventually, Epic adjusted the mechanics, but rocket rides will forever be one of those classic Fortnite memories that showed just how creative the community could get. Number 12, the meteor in the sky. Before Fortnite had live events every season, there was a meteor. Out of nowhere, players noticed a giant rock in the sky during Season 3, and everyone started speculating about what it meant. People thought it might hit Tilted Towers, others thought it was just a decoration. The sky kept getting brighter, and every day the hype grew, and then finally it struck Dusty Depot, turning it into Dusty Divot and officially proving that Fortnite was going to have evolving map storylines. If you remember logging in just to check the sky and see if the meteor had moved, you're a true day one Fortnite fan. Number 11. The guided missile. This was probably one of the most controversial weapons in Fortnite history, because the guided missile wasn't just a regular rocket launcher, because it let you literally control the rocket after you fired it. Players were piloting rockets around corners, flying them through windows, and hitting people hiding in buildings. And of course, it didn't take long before squads started using them as taxis. Epic eventually vaulted it, but for that short time that it existed, the guided missile was the ultimate mix of fun and frustration. If you remember getting lasered by one of these out of nowhere, then you know exactly how broken it was. Number 10. The Cube, aka Kevin. Who remembers the day that a giant purple cube first appeared on the island? Out of nowhere, this thing spawned in Season 5, and immediately everyone started calling it Kevin. No one knew what it was at first. All we knew is that if you shot it, it would zap you with lightning. Over time, it started rolling across the map, crushing everything in its path, until it eventually melted into Loot Lake and turned the water bouncy. Kevin basically became a character in the Fortnite lore, and every time that he returned in some form, the community freaked out. And if you were around when Kevin first rolled across the island, then you know how legendary that moment was. Number 9. The Thanos LTM. Before collabs became an everyday thing in Fortnite, there was the collab that started it all: the Infinity Gauntlet game mode. This was the first time that players could actually become a Marvel character, and of course, it had to be Thanos. Whoever picked up the gauntlet would transform into the Mad Titan himself with crazy abilities. Huge jumps, laser beams, insane melee powers. The whole lobby would basically try and team up and trying to take him down. But if you got the gauntlet first, you were living your best villain life. Compared to today's collabs, it was simple, but at the time it was absolutely groundbreaking. And that was the moment that Fortnite proved it wasn't just a battle royale, it was an event machine. Number 8. The volcano eruption. Season 8 was already wild with pirates and cannons, but the big highlight was the volcano. Players watched it smoke and rumble for weeks until finally it erupted in a live event. Massive lava rocks rained down on the island, destroying parts of Tilted Towers and Retail Row. And what made it so iconic was that this was one of the first times that Epic used destruction on such a massive scale. Suddenly the map wasn't safe, even your favourite POI could be wiped out in a single event. If you were standing on the island watching that volcano blow, you know just how jaw-dropping it felt in real time. Number 7. The mech controversy. Not every memory is a good one, and if you were around during Season X, you know exactly what this is going to be. The brute mechs. These giant robots were insanely overpowered. 2 players could hop in, one controlling the movement and the other firing an arsenal of rockets. They could stomp on builds, instantly delete enemies, and survive way longer than they had any right to. The entire community begged Epic to vault them, and they eventually toned them down. But for a while, it felt like every single match was just mech warfare, and it's one of those moments where everyone agrees, yeah, that was probably Fortnite's most broken season. Number 6. The Black Hole event. And speaking of unforgettable moments, nothing will ever top the Black Hole. After Chapter 1 ended, players expected a normal live event. Instead, the rocket launch triggered a chain reaction that literally sucked the entire map into a black hole. The game just disappeared. And for days, Fortnite was unplayable, and all you could do was stare at the swirling void on your screen. The internet went insane. People thought that Epic had deleted Fortnite. Streamers didn't know what to do, and everyone was refreshing Twitter like crazy. Then, of course, Chapter 2 launched with a brand new map. But the Black Hole is easily the most legendary transition in gaming history. If you lived through it, you'll never forget the chaos it caused. Number 5. The planes in Season 7. Winter hit Fortnite in a big way during Season 7, and along with this snowy map came one of the craziest additions ever, the X4 Stormwing planes. Suddenly, Battle Royale wasn't just about building and shooting, it was full-on aerial dogfights. You could boost, shoot the plane machine guns, and even jump out mid-air with style. But of course, planes were controversial because they shredded builds and made high ground feel useless. Some people loved them, some hated them, but no one can deny that they completely changed the way Fortnite felt for that season. If you remember hopping into a plane with your squad and terrorizing the skies, you're a true OG. Number 4. The Marshmallow Live Event Concert. Before Travis Scott, before Ariana Grande, before Fortnite became known for its insane viral concerts, there was the Marshmallow event. And this was the first time Epic pulled off something like this, a live in-game concert where everyone dropped into Pleasant Park to watch Marshmallow perform. Players couldn't fight, they could only vibe, dance, and watch the show together. It felt so surreal at the time, like Fortnite had gone from a game to an actual social platform. And the craziest part is, millions of people showed up. It set the stage for every collab and concert that followed. But the Marshmallow event will always be remembered as the one that changed the game forever. Number 3. The rocket launch. If you were there for the very first live event, you know how magical it felt. Season 4 introduced the villain lair with a giant rocket, and players speculated for weeks about what to do. Then, one day, the countdown hit 0, and the rocket blasted into the sky. People thought that it was just going to crash and end the match, but instead, it cracked rifts into the sky, setting up an entire new era of Fortnite. The best part was, this was the first ever live event in gaming history where everyone in the match saw it happen at the same time. It was the moment we realised Fortnite wasn't just about Battle Royale, it was about creating shared memories. Number 2. The Travis Scott Astronomical event. Fast forward to Chapter 2 and Fortnite raised the bar to levels no one thought was possible. The Travis Scott concert wasn't just a live performance, it was a full-on interdimensional journey. Players were thrown into space, underwater, upside down, all while a massive Travis towered over the island. The visuals were insane and the transitions between songs made it feel like you were part of a music video. Over 12 million people tuned in, making it one of the biggest gaming events of all time. And if you're not a Travis Scott fan, you can't deny that Fortnite pulled off something revolutionary with this event. Number 1. The OG Fortnite map. And finally, the number one thing that only true Fortnite players remember, the OG map. Tilted Towers, Greasy Grove, Retail Row, Dusty Divot, just hearing those names brings back memories. And this was the map where it all started. The map that shaped Fortnite's identity and created countless stories. Every POI had its fans, every season added little changes that made exploring fresh, and when it all finally disappeared into the black hole, players realised just how much it meant to them. Even now, whenever Epic brings back pieces of the old map, the entire community loses their minds, because no matter how many maps Fortnite goes through, nothing will ever replace the original. And that's it. 15 things only true Fortnite players remember. If you were there for even half of these moments, then you're part of the Fortnite history. Which one hit you with the most nostalgia? Let me know down in the comments, and if you think I missed one, then I want to hear that too. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, make sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and check out the next video on the screen right now. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in the next one.